Hi, good afternoon. Thank you for joining us. We'll begin shortly. Please ensure you're connected to an audio and you can see the presentation screen. Kindly keep your microphones muted throughout the session to minimize background noise. If you have questions during the presentation, please type them into the Q&A tab at the bottom of the screen. There is also a Q&A session at the end of the sharing. If you are experiencing any technical difficulties, try leaving and rejoining the session. A video recording of this session will also be uploaded on the school's YouTube site. Once again, good afternoon, parents and guardians. I'm Madam Yang, the year head for Primary 5 and 6 levels. Together with Mrs. Sharil, our head of department for PE, Aesthetics and CCA, we'll be sharing important information related to the PSLE and DSA process. Thank you for taking time to join us today in our town hall. I will begin today's session and walk you through how PSLE scoring system works and how students are posted to secondary school based on their results. There are 8 achievement levels, or ALs in short, with AL1 being the best. Each AL spans a range of marks, and students with similar scores in each subject are grouped into the same AL. Now, each AL reflects their own level of achievement. That means once a student meets the learning objectives of the curriculum, they will receive the AL regardless of how their peers have performed. Why 8 ALs? It offers a good balance, reduces the fine differentiation of students' examination results, and provides some differentiation to give parents and educators a gauge of a student's progress at the end of the primary school and match students to suitable academic programs in secondary school. At the top ALs, the range are narrower as the PSLE is designed to strike a careful balance between reducing undue differentiation between students' examination results and ensuring meaningful secondary school posting outcomes. On average, slightly below half of the students score AL4 or better for standard subjects. This avoids too many students achieving the same PSLE score and requiring more tie-breaking to determine the secondary school posting. At the middle to lower ALs, student scores are more widely distributed, hence, final differentiation is less meaningful. Now, under the AL system, foundation subjects are graded from ALA to ALC, with a corresponding raw mark range as shown. For the purpose of S1 posting, ALA to ALC for foundation level subjects are mapped to AL6 to AL8 of standard level subjects respectively to derive a student's overall PSLE score. ALA is mapped to AL6 with a standard level raw mark range of 45 to 64, and it takes into account a student's readiness for the subject's G2 curriculum under the full SBB in secondary school. Students who are likely to score AL6 or better should be offered to take a subject at a standard level so as to be well prepared for G3 or G2 curriculum in secondary school. Next, how does PSLE AL scoring works? The ALs of the 4 subjects are added to form the PSLE score. The PSLE score ranges from 4 to 32, with 4 being the best. The PSLE score will then be used to post students to secondary school through one of the 3 posting routes. As of 2024, last year, the Express, Normal Acad, and Normal Technical streams have been fully phased out. Posting groups will only be used for the purposes of admitting students into secondary school and to guide the initial subject levels students can offer at the start of Set 1. Throughout their secondary school education, students can take subjects at 3 subject levels known as G1, G2, and G3. G stands for General, mapped from the previous NT, NA and Express standards, respectively. Let's take a look at Elena's example. Elena scored AL2 for Standard English and Math, ALA for Foundation Science, which is mapped to AL6, and AL4 for Standard Mother Tongue. Her PSLE AL score is 14. Next, HCL Higher Chinese Language, posting advantage to Special Assistant Plan Secondary School. Students who obtain a distinction, merit, or pass in Higher Chinese Language and a PSLE score of 14 or better are eligible for a posting advantage to Special Assistant Plan or SAP schools. Students are ranked taking in account of the performance in Higher Chinese Language. If multiple students with the same PSLE score apply for places in the same SAP school, those with the better Higher Chinese grade in order of distinction, merit, and pass will be allocated a place ahead of other students. This applies before the tiebreakers for S1 posting. On this slide, you see 6 students in descending order of posting priority. The student with a PSLE score of 7 will be posted first. The student with PSLE score of 9 will only be posted after all the students with PSLE scores of 8 or better have been posted. So among the students with the same PSLE score of 8, students with a better grade in Higher Chinese Language will be given priority to admit into SAP schools via the S1 posting. Next, scoring for Mother Tongue Language Exemption and Asian Language or Foreign Language. To determine the assigned Mother Tongue score, reference is made to the Mother Tongue scores of other students who have achieved similar scores in English, Math, and Science. This is to maintain parity of treatment with students who take Foundation Mother Tongue who will score between AL6 to 8. This acknowledges that this group of students has valid reason for seeking Mother Tongue exemption or taking an Asian language or foreign language, while recognizing that majority of the students do take an official mother tongue at the standard or foundation level. Therefore, they bear a heavier learning and assessment load. The eligibility criteria for higher mother tongue still ensures that students who pursue higher mother tongue in secondary school can cope with the demands of all subjects taken. So the criteria you see over here are set at fixed PSLE scores so that you and your child can have a clear gauge of whether they can take higher mother tongue in secondary school. If your child develops interest in mother tongue later on during secondary schools will still have the flexibility to allow such students to take higher mother tongue if they are able to cope with the additional academic load. For students who do not meet the above criteria, secondary school will have the flexibility to offer higher mother tongue to students if they are being assessed to have the high ability and interest in mother tongue and are able to cope with the learning load required. Now, how does S1 posting works? Your child will be posted to a secondary school based on academic merit and their school choices. Tiebreakers will be applied when 2 or more students with exactly the same PSLE score are vying for the last remaining place in the school in the following order. First, citizenship. Second, the choice order of schools matters more now. So between 2 students with the same PSLE score, the student who places a school higher in his choice order will get priority. Now, why choice order matters more now? Because with the broader AL scoring bands, more students will have the same PSLE score. And secondary school will also be less differentiated based on the cutoff points. Students can choose from a wider range of schools of a similar academic profile and pick those that are a good educational fit for them. Third, computerized balloting is the last tiebreaker. Majority of the students would not need to undergo the balloting. This is because balloting only kicks in after PSLE score and after the earlier tiebreakers like citizenship and choice order are exhausted. This means that balloting only takes place between students at the margins who have the same PSLE score, same citizenship, and same school choice order. Now, P6 students, when they enter secondary 1, they will go through the 3 posting group, which are posting group 1, 2, or 3. Okay, posting groups will be assigned based on the PSLE scores, as seen in the table. PSLE score of 4 to 20 is mapped to posting group 3 with subject level of G3 for most subjects. PSLE score of 21 to 22 is mapped to posting group 2 or 3 with subject level of G2 and G3 for most subjects. PSLE score of 23 to 24 is mapped to posting group 2 with subject level of G2 for most subjects. PSLE score of 25 is mapped to posting group 1 and 2 with subject level of G1 and G2 for most subjects. Now, do note that if the PSLE score falls in the range of 26 to 30, the score for English and Math must be AL7 or ALB for Foundation English and Foundation Math in order to be offered a posting group 1 in secondary school. Next, I'll walk you through the full SBB in secondary school. Full SBB is part of MOE's ongoing effort to nurture the joy of learning and develop multiple pathways to cater to different strengths, interests, abilities, and talents of our students. Students will take greater ownership of their learning, build a growth mindset, and be motivated to learn for life. They will have more chances to interact with peers of diverse strengths and interests and enjoy wider post-secondary school options while being equipped with strong foundational skills. While the 3 posting groups are mapped to the PSLE score ranges of the existing NT, NA, and Express streams, they will not shape or define the students' secondary and post-secondary experiences and pathways. The posting group are only used for the purposes of admitting students into secondary school and guide the initial subject level students offer at the start of Set 1. Once in the school, the students will be grouped into a mixed form classes comprising of students from different posting groups. They will spend about 1/3 of their curriculum time taking a set of common curriculum subjects together, for example, arts, character and citizenship education, design and technology, food and consumer education, music, and PE. So under the full SBB, eligible students will also have more flexibility to take subjects at different subject levels depending on their subject-specific strengths and learning needs. Next, this is another graphic that shows how full SBB works. At lower secondary level, students are placed in form classes with a mixed students offering different subject levels. Each form classes will comprise of students admitted through different posting groups. Mixed form classes present more opportunities for students to interact with other students taking different subject combination with different strengths and interests. Mixed classroom environment also aim to facilitate sustained interaction across different student profile and mitigate the stream-based labeling and stigmatization. At the end of Sec 4, the students will then take the Singapore-Cambridge Secondary School Education Certificate exam to enter tertiary education. The Singapore-Cambridge Secondary Education Certification will reflect the subject and the subject levels that the students have studied over 4 years. There is also an option of a 5th year in secondary school. It will be continued available for eligible students to pace their learning and take subjects at a more demanding level to access more post-secondary school pathways. Next, I'll walk you through choosing suitable secondary schools. Students and parents can use the PSLE score range as a starting point to guide to explore school choices. The PSLE score range may vary from year to year depending on the cohort's PSLE results and their school choices in the previous year S1 posting exercise. The PSLE score ranges for individual secondary school are available on the MOE School Finder and My Skills Future Student Portal. Now, how do we interpret the PSLE score range? Yeah, next slide. So the PSLE score ranges reflect the score of the first and last student who will be posted into each school under the AL scoring system based on the previous year cohort results and the school choice pattern. So students whose PSLE score are at the cut-off point could be balloted in or out, depending on the number of vacancies in the school. Now, example of a SAP school score range. The higher Chinese grades of the first and last student admitted into the school are reflected in the bracket, D for distinction, N for merit, and P for pass. If the first or last student did not take higher Chinese, then no higher Chinese grade will be shown. Next, there are different types of secondary schools. Government school generally follows the national syllabus, offer the secondary education certificate examination or integrated program, the GCE A level. Independent school develop their own programs. They offer secondary education certificate examination, the International Baccalaureate Diploma Program, integrated program GCE A level. Specialized independent schools offer specialized education for students who have strong interests and talent in applied learning, mathematics, science, sports, or the arts. And you must apply through the direct school admission for secondary school, for this secondary school. Crest Secondary and Spectra Secondary offers alternative educational pathway for students who prefer a customized, hands-on, practice-oriented curriculum with a mix of G1 level subjects and selected G2 level subjects. And also they offer the ITE skills subject certificate. Specialized schools like Northlight and Assumption Pathway School enroll students who do not qualify for any secondary school course after 1 or 3 attempts at the PSLE. And students graduate with the ITE skills cert at the end of year 4, which prepares them for employment or admission into the ITE. When submitting school choices, you and your child should use all 6 options with a range of cut points. Consider at least 2 to 3 schools where your child's PSLE score is better than the school cut point. The PSLE score ranges serve only as a guide for you and your child to shortlist suitable secondary school. Do note that the school PSLE score range may vary from year to year, since they depend on each cohort's performance and the school choice patterns. Consider your child's strength, interests, abilities, talents, and learning needs. Hence, it is important to find out more about what schools offer, such as distinctive programs, subjects, and CCAs, as well as their location and contact information. Ranking your child's preferred school higher in the choice order of schools will increase the chances of your child being posted there if they need to undergo a tie-breaking. Look out for more secondary school open houses in October via the School Finder, and look out My Skills Future Portal to explore various pathways. The S1 posting exercise will be held in late November after the results are released for PSLE candidates. The online S1 school choices and options allows you to indicate 6 secondary school choices. Your child may also explore the direct school admission for secondary school, DSA, which offers an alternative pathway that opens for applications in May. To share more about DSA process and how you can support your child in preparing for it, I would now like to invite our Head of Department for PE Aesthetics and CCA, Mr. Sharil, to take over. Mr. Sharil, please.
All right, sorry about that. Thank you, Madam Young. I think after hearing about PSLE scores and secondary school choices, maybe now it's time for you to allow me to share more with you about direct school admission as an alternative way to enter a secondary school. So I think to better understand this idea of direct school admission, or DSA for short, allow me to share with you our in-house animation, Totty and Hoppy, Path to Secondary School Success. So sit back and enjoy the animation.
Toddy and Hoppy's Path to Secondary School Success. Toddy, the tortoise, is patient and musically talented. He's the leader of the choir club. Hoppy the hare is energetic and a skilled football player. He is the team captain of the football CCA. Toddy and Hoppy wonder if they should apply for DSA to enter their dream secondary school or wait for their PSLE scores to apply. Do you know what DSA is? Direct School Admission, DSA, was set up to allow schools to recognize and admit students based on a more diverse range of talents and achievements beyond what the PSLE recognizes. A student's CCA experience, achievement, or leadership position is recognized during the DSA application.
I've always dreamed of attending a school with a strong music program. Maybe I should consider DSA and highlight my musical accomplishments in the choir.
To help him with his decision-making, Toddy updates his online ECG portfolio. He seeks advice from his CCA teacher. He also discusses his desire to apply for DSA with his parents.
I've always dreamed of attending a school known for its football excellence. I am the captain, and my coaches said I am a skillful player. Maybe I should consider DSA as an option.
He speaks to his football coach for advice on applying for DSA. He also discusses this with his parents, and his father supports his decision to apply for DSA to his school of choice. To make an informed decision, we should research each school's strengths, DSA requirements, and programs offered. They also attend open houses to get more information. After their research, they are confident they have what the schools are looking for. They both decide to apply to enter their school of choice via DSA. Now, they need to prepare for their trials and interviews. They even approach their CCA teachers and coaches for guidance. Toddy invites his football coach to speak to his parents. Based on the feedback and inputs they receive, they work towards improving their skills. It's audition day, and they are prepared to put their best foot forward. Using their strengths to their advantage, they get accepted to their school of choice via DSA. Toddy and Hoppy's journey will continue in secondary school.
All right. I think I do hope you enjoyed the animation just now, but I think more importantly, hope it gives all of us some sort of an understanding of how DSA works as an alternative pathway to enter secondary school choice. Okay, let me now share with you about an article which was taken from Straits Times this year about the DSA scene in Singapore. Okay, you can see from here that we had about a record of 16,000 primary six students who applied for DSA last year, and the number has been growing from 12,000 to 14,500 and hit 16,000 last year. So I think with that, also in that particular article, it also stated that secondary schools have expanded their DSA selection process to recognize diverse strength and take into consideration potential, interest, character, resilience, and drive. Now, what does this mean? I think that I want to point out three things. First thing is increased awareness and accessibility. With this shows that more schools, more parents, more students are aware that of the availability of DSA as an option to take to enter secondary school. There's also, second point, greater recognition of holistic development. There's actually a national shift towards valuing a broader spectrum of student strength beyond academics. Third point, increased competition. Like it or not, with the increased number of applications, there's also increased competition. Everyone is seeking opportunity to secure a spot in a school of choice early. So, but let me just emphasize this. This is not just a trend. It is actually part of a broader national shift. Okay. After watching the animation, understanding what DSA is all about, I think some of you have seen it before last year when we shared it before. Then I think Madam Young shared with you about our PSLE scoring. Then I even brought you through the scene that's happening currently and the national shift towards looking beyond just academic score, let me share with you how our admirals, how many admirals applied and were successful through DSA over the years. Okay, sorry. Backtrack a bit. Before I show the outcome, I think I just want to say one thing. While not every admiral may apply, and that's not our goal. Our goal is to ensure that every admiral has the opportunity to do so if they wish. So with that, let me show you the outcomes. So we can see, okay, let me just pause for a while to give every one of you a bit of time to look through the data. Okay. Okay, let me just bring all of us through together. I think you can see here from our data from 2022 to 2024, it is very encouraging to see that as we raise awareness, not only in our students, teachers, and parents, and be more deliberate in our approach to guide our admirals and looking to improve the overall experience and exposure that we offer our young admirals, we see a positive growing trend. You can see our number of DSA applicants growing from 114 to 127 to 135 last year. My daughter graduated last year and she's one of the 135 who applied. Our DSA application also grew from 305 to 363 last year. What does this mean? This number shows us that our admirals have a greater belief in their own talent that they want to pursue to bring them to a secondary school of choice and to further continue and develop them in secondary school. Now, the last row that you can see is the number of DSA successful, means those who actually were given an offer and accepted the offer. Success rate from 33 to 44 was last year was our best. 2023 was our best. We hit 44, almost a class entering via DSA lah. While last year there is a drop, it is important for us to understand that DSA is not about quantity but fit. But we also need to take into consideration, be cognizant of our national movement lah, with a lot more people understanding about DSA and using it as an opportunity to enter a school of choice. Obviously, there's increased competition. Nevertheless, we are still proud of our admirals for stepping up and believing in their talents and passions. So here, I'll just bring us through a bit. 27, you can see 27. Later, I explain the bracket of 14. 27 accepted their DSA offer. So my daughter was one of them lah. Okay, she accepted via Malay dance to enter to a school of her choice, which is Woodlands Ring Secondary School. That's just a side story a bit lah. But nevertheless, these 27, out of these 27, 12 might not have entered the school if they were to rely on their PSLE score alone. Okay, at the same time, we do not encourage them to try for schools which will stretch them, which will strain them, but rather stretch them. So we always encourage them to DSA a school that they might not be able to enter if they just rely on DSA alone, right? Then you can see a bracket 14. Technically speaking, we have 14 other admirals which receive DSA offers, but these 14 decided to reject the offers. So technically speaking, we have about 41 having the offers being given, but 14 rejected. Why? I think we had some conversation with them. Looking back, we feel that their DSA choices could have been more strategic or better aligned with their true strengths and interests. Some of them we spoke to, they were saying, Mr. Shah, I do not want to do it. Why? Why do you not want to accept? Because it's too far. So again, a question I'm asking myself, could the students have made better choices? Could have spent the time going for trials or audition to schools that really suit maybe their location or their interests and talents. But later on, this is an issue which we want to address, and we actually have a plan, and I'll share with all of you later on. Okay. Next is let me just share a bit about our school's intentional effort or approach. So we have this movement called DSA for All. So what is DSA for All? So DSA, as mentioned, DSA allows students to enter secondary schools of their choice based on talents beyond academic results. And that all secondary schools are offering, and I repeat myself again, bolded, blue, underlined, all secondary schools are offering DSA. And hence, we want here in Admiralty for DSA to be accessible to every Admiral, and that they are not fixated only on the academic grades, but are also interested to further develop their interests and talents. Here, we want to encourage our students to believe that they have another route to enter their choice secondary school besides the traditional academic merit. We want them to pursue their interests and talents, and if successful, their approach to their PSLE will be less stressful and more enjoyable. I believe my daughter can attest to this lah. Right? Next, and okay, sorry. And I think one thing we all need to think of, I mentioned just now, all right. All schools are offering DSA. Some only accept students in only via direct school admission. Such schools are Sports School, SOTA, SST, and US High. So these schools only accept students via DSA. Mainstream, any other school, they can admit up to 20%. So if I give and take a school having about 200 students, 10% is 20, they can accept about 40 of the Sec 1 students via direct school admission. For those who are aiming for IP program, about 30 to 35% acceptance lah. Can? Now, again, we want it to be accessible to all, but we are also, let us be real. Okay, parents, students who are also listening, tuning in now, we got to be real with ourselves. Not everyone ought or should DSA. That's not our goal, but what we want is for it to be accessible to every Admiral. And it's not about just applying. In Admiralty, besides raising awareness, we are also very intentional to make sure that we improve our programs here. We refine our programs. We rethink about our leadership program, our CCA, quality CCA experience and exposure, so that they will be able to stand in a good state if they decide to go for DSA. Okay? And lastly, you can see here, we want them to be able to make better informed and strategic choices when identifying a secondary school of choice, be it via DSA or PSLE. So ultimately, parents, students, decision-making process is still at your end. You should be able to make a sound choice. Think carefully. PSLE becomes less high stake. Okay, next year, I think it's just about understanding eligibility lah. Students can apply for BDSA based on a wide range of talents such as sports and games, visual, literary and performing arts, debate, public speaking, science, mathematics and engineering, academic, still can also do it, languages and humanities, uniform groups, leadership. In our case, in Admiralty, we have prefects, our CCA leaders, our peer support leaders, our class leaders, even our subject leaders. So what your child need to do is, again, I emphasize not parents, hoping that it's your child. We need to check if the school is offering that talent area via DSA. Secondary schools might have many CCAs, but they have the choice to offer only certain talent areas for DSA route. Go to the school website to find out more about the selection criteria. Next is on commitment. So do take note, every one of us, if a child is successful and admitted to a secondary school via DSA, they are not allowed to submit S1 choices, not allowed S1 school choices during the S1 posting process or transfer to another school. I think okay, the exception here, submitting S1 posting, is the exception is only for those who have DSA to Singapore Sports School. And the reason is in the event the child who's in sports school got injured and is unable to continue with the rigor of the particular sport, he or she will be allowed to, they will look at this S1 posting, the 6 choices, in order to help the particular student to transfer to that particular school. Other than that, it's not. Okay. So I think one thing I want to say here, I've been hearing this when I talk about commitment, right? I've been hearing our students telling Mr. Shah, I do not wish to commit. I find it very hard to commit to just one CCA. But my advice to all of us here, we should not see this as a limiting factor. We do not want to limit ourselves. I think the idea here is to fulfill the commitment. I think for commitment part, your child needs to be committed to continue to give back to the school, continue to develop his or her own interests, be fair to him or herself. The school part, the school will be committed to give the best opportunity to continue to develop your child's interest. So it takes both parties, lah, right? You, your child, and also the school. Can then next thing is this commitment is something which is a value which we have been emphasizing to our admirals when at a very early age when they make their CCA choices at P2. So I think some of you might saying, "Wow, the making CCA choices in Admiralty is very difficult." I think it's not difficult. We try to see from a long term, getting them prepared, you know, from CCA choices, being able to commit themselves, working hard, developing themselves, to in the end, their DSA choices. And ultimately, what we hope for is for them to make a very informed secondary school choices. They need to be able to embrace any of their choice that's given to them, because in life, parents, students, we are not given our first choice all the time. So when we are not given the first choice, what should we do next? Okay, so okay, that's on commitment lah. All right. Next, let me share with you about our school program lah. What all these are just talks, right? Talks are cheap lah. So it's easy to just say, but what to do? So how are we doing here in Admiralty Primary? Is through this particular school program called Enhanced ECG. So we are very deliberate and we are very intentional to help our admirals to make informed choice. So how are we doing this? Okay, first, we have this Enhanced ECG is a school-initiated program conducted by your child's form teachers to cultivate admiral self-awareness and responsible decision-making. Through the lessons, they learn to leverage their strength effectively, learn to get to know themselves even better, use decision-making metrics. Then this initiative aims to empower them to make informed choices, fostering personal growth and development. Here is a timeline. I think we did share this last year before. This is just a timeline to see how we want to map out. So for example, at P1, we don't get them to do enhanced ECG at P1, but the intent is understanding the child entering our school is to allow that particular child, the particular young admiral, time to discover himself, herself, her strength, her interests, and make new friends. At P2, that's where we are a bit more intentional to help them to make an informed choice to enter CCA of his or her choice. We don't leave it to chance. We have CCA fair. Before CCA fair, there's CCA lessons. After CCA fair, there's another enhanced ECG lesson. We created booklets for them, all for the purpose of helping them to make an informed choice to embrace any options that's given to them. At P3 is where we allow them time to grow in that particular CCA. P3 is also the time whereby they're given chance to be our admiral leader, prefect, peer support leaders. So this is a time for them to seize opportunity for growth and be developed in that CCA or leadership. So we give them that particular runway. Then at P4, then we step in again one more time. At P4 is the where we plant this particular seed in their head about the awareness of direct school admission, so that they're able to chart. Because to us, the clearer they are of their goals, the more willing they are to work hard. So at P5, P6, whereby the journey is getting nearer and nearer, so that's where we help them to plan their secondary school choices, be it via DSA or PSLE. Remember what I said just now? DSA is for all, I'm referring to accessibility, but those of them who choose not to DSA, is nothing wrong with that. If they have made an informed choice, then our main goal next is to help them to make the right 6 choices. Can help them. The ultimate decision making still lies in you and the child. So I think after this, we also have our classroom to further help our P5, P6. We have this classroom whereby we get whole of them in a level itself. One level, one Google Classroom. Then we also push out reminders on e-open house, scheduled secondary school talks. DSA information is all up there. The only question that I want to pose to you is your child referring to that Google Classroom or not? It's like having a resource up in your face, but if you choose to close your eyes, nothing can come in, nothing can sink in if you don't open the eyes to see to that particular knowledge or information in front of you. Last, we did this. We have surveyed P6 admirals to understand the DSA options for now, not the S preferences yet. we will try to resemble actual application process because application is done via DSA portal, all online. So we use this data to guide discussions while nurturing our Admiral's ability to think critically. So I think ultimately, again, is to make an informed choice. All right. Okay. Now, next, I talked to you about the issue we had 14 students rejecting their DSA offers. So what we have implemented this year, hearing feedback from students, teachers, and also some parents asking us who's helping my child? Can there be a more intentional approach? So we hear you, and this is our initiative this particular year. So we have DSA mentor. So what are DSA mentor? Who are DSA? Let me just show you a bit more. Okay, the DSA mentor is a teacher who can guide or challenge and support your child DSA journey lah. So basically, these mentors are chosen by your child. We don't assign randomly. It is chosen by them. It could be he or she can be their CCA teacher, their leadership mentor, their form teachers, subject teachers, anyone he or she respects and trusts, so that they can have very open conversation to be very clear as to how to make that particular thinking process. Just to share a bit, it is not, we had our briefing with them. I think some of you have gotten some PG, and not all of you perhaps, because I think when we did our survey, 131 admirals as of now, 131 indicated that they are interested to apply via DSA. And then that was where we have met this 131. We have already asked them, we already briefed them, we told them that they are supposed to approach their DSA mentor, and we already also inform our DSA mentors that they are encouraged to check in with their mentees. So I think as of now, talking to the students, we have about 40 DSA mentors, and we already informed them. So I think a mentor, I repeat myself here, is not to do the job for the mentee. The purpose is to help, maybe can help to do a review. At this present moment, I remembered I've been meeting these particular students who kept seeing me during healthy snack break. So keep asking, Mr. Shah, I have these options. Are they okay or not? I'm thinking of it. So my job is not to choose for him. It's always been sharpening his thoughts, giving him more questions to think about, encouraging him to go back, talk to his mommy and daddy. So it's an ongoing process, and I'm not here to decide for you which is the best. Okay? So I do encourage you, if your child is still thinking about whether wants to go for DSA or not, and I think if a DSA mentor is something which will be very helpful, feel free to let us know. Okay? Next, last one from me. This question that I keep getting from parents or students, is there a cutoff point to enter secondary school for DSA? My answer is simply no. Think back to the true intent and spirit of DSA is for talents and interests, unless you're going for academics. But ultimately, you need to meet the eligibility score. Okay, last but not least, getting DSA does not mean academic is not important and that they do not need to study. They still need to study hard to pass, to clear their PSLE. Right? So ultimately, we just want it to be less stressful for them. Okay, with that, I'll pass the time back to Madam Yang.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Sharil. We hope that today's sharing has been helpful and given you greater clarity on the PSLE, Sec 1 posting, and DSA process. It is important to have regular and genuine conversations with your child to understand their strengths, interests, abilities, talents, and their education and career aspirations. So get to know them beyond academics, consider their personality, learning style, and what keeps them motivated. Be open-minded and supportive when discussing the education and career pathways, and avoid projecting your own expectations. Most importantly, affirm your child and let them know you're there to support their journey. Now, the next few slides highlights various publicly available resources developed by MOE to support you in understanding the changes to the PSLE scoring and the Sec 1 posting systems. So these resources will be shared with you after the town hall, so you can refer to them at your own time for greater clarity and guidance. So once again, thank you for taking time to join us for today's town hall. We appreciate your partnership and support. Now, if you have any additional questions, this is a time where you can really ask us, and we hope that we will try our best to answer your questions. Okay, I think we have a parent who raised hand. So, parent of Ashmaf, would you like to talk? Okay, maybe while waiting for the parent to respond, we have one question on our Q&A board. Can we know which are the DSA routes which Admiralty Primary School students have been successful in gaining entry to? So for our past experiences, our students actually applied to various talent areas. All right, some are successfully got into leadership and performing arts such as dance, sports, and academics such as languages and public speaking. So actually, there are various of talent areas that you can apply to in each secondary school. All right. So do encourage your child to explore the school websites for their open house and see if they are really interested and are ready to commit the 4 years in that talent area in the secondary school, and then you can encourage your child to apply. Any other question?
Okay, maybe hello. Can maybe I was looking through the Q&A segment. There's one question by Meher asking whether are parents able to view the students' achievement grades. One thing which we have told students also is that it's a national movement lah, because all secondary schools are offering DSA. They are able secondary schools that you have applied to, they have access to the results via school cockpit. So all you need to do is just extract. Maybe if you need further assurance whether are the results captured, you can check in with the teacher, or you can get Meher to check with her DSA mentor to help you out. The next thing would be everything is done online, so there's no need for us to worry. And then when you go to DSA portal to key in, if I know Meher does sports outside of school, so if you wish, there's this particular segment. This doesn't apply to Meher and any one of us. The additional achievement outside of school that's not captured in school cockpit, there's a segment whereby parents can update. All right, so that's about it. So I think I hope I've answered this particular question. I think next, if I can just go to this next question, they ask what kind of CCA will students get in secondary school if he goes through leadership DSA? I think we do have students who have gone through leadership via the leadership track. So if I can, some of them were my students. So when they come back to me, they told me that Mr. Shah, first year they were being made to be a class chairperson. I think in secondary school, the expectation of class chairperson is to lead a particular class. And then in this particular case, with SVB going on, their class can have a good mixture of G1, G2, or G3 to students. So the demand of being a good and effective class chairperson goes up a notch lah. But I think it also presents a very good opportunity to develop their leadership skills. So it's just a runway for them. Moving on to school council, it depends on how well they do, how much they will grow. Okay. Then maybe this particular question is, so far any leader successful leaders? Many. We do have many. Don't say our head prefect, vice head. So these are the people that are the leadership mentors would try to encourage to use that particular ticket or experience to bring them, if they wish to continue serving people, then they ought to be trying to DSA a school of their choice. If I even had in the past a PE leader who's being tasked with many challenging projects here in Admiralty. Was successful when he tried to apply for leadership just via PE. So subject leaders, you still have a chance. It's not limited to only head or vice head again, but positions obviously vis-a-vis others may only guarantee you a certain standing lah. It's the quality of conversation, the things that you are able to, potential that you can show. So leaders, if you want to try out, please do so. The P.
Okay, so we will be uploading our video recording of this session on our school YouTube site. All right, so you can access all our information on the YouTube link. And I think we have one question from Mr. Stephen Teng. Maybe you would like to unmute so that we can understand your question better. Would you mind just explaining, or is there a typo in your question? And Perrin or Ashmaf, yeah, would you like to unmute? Yeah.
Hello. Okay, I'm back. Maybe I'll take this chance to answer Ashma's question. So if I get it wrong, please do unmute yourself and then clarify. So you asked whether if your child received DSA offers from more than one school, how does the selection process works? So I think there's this particular period whereby it's a school preference submission. So when you have an offer of more than one school, and I give example, okay, I give a very real example. My daughter. So my daughter last year, she gotten 2 offers. So she gotten 2 offers from 2 schools. Both schools so she wants to go. But then when that time comes for you to do submit your school submission preference, she needs to decide which is her first choice, which is second choice. So you have that chance to decide which is number 1, which is number 2, number 3. If you only got 1 offer, there'll be a 1 if you're going to accept. If you got 3 offers, you got to rank them. And ultimately, what my daughter got was the first choice. So you will have that particular, and I always tell students, make it a good problem to have, whereby you got to rank them instead of having no offers at all. So they need to do their best. I hope this answered your question. And I think here they also ask, how is it different for sports school compared to mainstream? I think sports school, they started their trials really. It's been going on for quite a while. So I think that is one thing that you need to check in with sports school, because when sports school start to offer you, it's a binding contract or a contract between you and sports school. So that is why when you go to sports school, you still can go for your DSA application and so on. But once sports school offer you and you commit, you're not allowed to accept any DSA offers. If not, your sports school's offer will go void. So that's the only thing that you need to be wary of. Can? Then I think I hope that answer. If not, you can just unmute. If I can, then I can just bring on to the next question. If my child in DSA, can I drop DSA and use PSA to secondary school? Okay, again, this happens also last year, okay? If DSA offers DSA offer coming normally before PSLE lah. So a student cannot say I accept offer. Then when PSLE results come out, I think I did better. I can go to other schools. I drop PSA. That one cannot. Again, I refer to the slides on commitment lah. So you got to be committed when the school already offered you a place. That means one of that 40 slots is already your child's slot. Can? Okay, Madam Yang, any more question, Madam Yang?
Maybe I'll just elaborate a bit more on if your child receives DSA offer for more than one schools, right? So your child may receive offer from multiple schools because you can indicate up to 3 DSA schools. So that's actually the confirmed offer, which means your child is being reserved a place in the secondary school. So that is where about in October you have to opt in whether you would like to confirm accepting the offer. And that is when once you accept the offer, then you cannot participate in the S1 posting anymore. All right. And there's also the wait list. So wait list means your child may be given a reserved place if other students with confirmed offer did not take up the offer. That is where, during the October session, you still have to opt in whether you want to be in the wait list. And then make sure that your child achieve a PSLE score that qualifies then for a posting group offered by the school, right? And then eventually, right, if your child is giving the confirmed offer, it will be taken up. So you still have to indicate your choice there. And that's also the part where it's unsuccessful. That means you will not receive any offer, which means you have to participate in the S1 posting, right? Okay, so there's another question by Kevin Chan. My daughter is interested in SOTA and she's talented in art. So between a very good specific talent and average academic result, what is the successful criteria? Mr. Sharil, would you want to take this question?
Okay, maybe I'll answer this question. My daughter is interested in SOTA, talented in art. So between a very good specific talent, average academic results, I think I might not be I think the right person to answer the question might be your daughter herself. I think if she is committed and she feels that SOTA is the right environment that can groom her further, develop her passion in art even further, then that choice will be a very good choice for her. So my take is you can give it a try. If it's not successful to enter SOTA, then the next choice that she can actually make will be figuring out her 6 secondary school choices that she wants to go to. She can still factor in the arts program for that particular school. An example can be my daughter last time also likes art. My daughter number 1, she wanted to do art as an O level. So the schools that offer nearby here that offers art as an O level subject is actually naval-based and Orchid Park. So you can also look at it as an opportunity to enter a school that which according to you might be your daughter might have an average, but it is a school that offers art as an opportunity to further develop your child's passion. So I think you need to have more conversation. If your daughter has a DSA mentor, I will encourage your daughter to have more conversation with the mentor. Okay? Thank you.
Okay, let's move on to some questions. I think that's one from Sharifa. If gotten DSA, what if we reject and choose the school that we want? I think that is the purpose when you receive the confirm of the offer. That is where you can decide with your child whether you would like to select the school based on your child interest and commitment. Yeah. So yes, you can reject the schools And then you then, based on your PSLE score, then you apply for S1 posting. This is how it goes. All right. Another question from Miss Summer Young. What are the materials we need to prepare for DSA application? So I think our teacher had already posted a link to you. You can refer to the website. So DSA portal, you have to log in using your SingPass. So basically all the academic results, all right, it'll be ported over to the secondary school on our side. You do not need to submit any forms of results. Okay, unless you have external enrichment certificates that is not made known to the school, that is where you can upload these materials on the DSA application. Okay, from Lawrence, can CCA leader apply under leadership for DSA? How high is that chance, and will all applicants get shortlisted for interview? Yeah, so we have already answered. Okay, CCA leaders can apply to leadership, and how high is the chance? Well, it really depends on during the interviews, how they present themselves to the panel. All right. So that is where our DSA mentors comes in very handy. So encourage your child to to discuss with your DSA mentor on how they can present in front of the panel during the interview. Okay, I think we have answered all the questions in the Q&A tab. All right, so once again, thank you for taking time to join us for today's town hall. We appreciate your partnership and support. You can find a recording of our town hall in our school YouTube link. So thank you so much for joining us. Have a restful evening and a wonderful weekend ahead. Thank you so much. Bye.